Hey, my beautiful angel, it's Jessie Grouse, and welcome to Soul Awakening channel. This video is about mediumship and skills of mediumship, and I will give you 3 signs to know that you have these special gifts. I am Josie Grouse. I'm a professional psychic medium. I'm here on YouTube since 2013, teaching you to tap into your intuitive psychic gifts. And I can tell you, the mediumship is something that is available to all of us. It's a special gift that we can learn, that we can develop. And, I wasn't born psychic. I don't remember, seeing angels or spirits when I was a little girl. But life brought me to mediumship. Life showed me, it helped me to heal my soul through mediumship. In 2003, my dad died, and he died this tragic death and left me, with grief and a lot of pain, not just me, my entire family. And somebody suggested to me, why don't you go see a medium? Because mediums talk to the dead people, and maybe you can, communicate, connect with your dad and receive a message from him. And I was, shy, being a Catholic girl. I was afraid of all kinds of mediums and psychics. I thought it just works of the devil. I wanted nothing to do with it. But at that time, something deep inside was guiding me. It's okay, Josie. Go ahead and connect with your father through mediums. So that's exactly what I did. And my first meeting with a medium was just extraordinary. I received a message from my dad. It was a confirmation that he was there, he wasn't gone. And let me tell you, something shifted deep within me. I started to heal. I opened up to receive spirit messages. All of a sudden, I realized that life doesn't end here on this physical plane, but it's just a continuous path, continuous journey. And I was so fascinated with mediumship. I continued to study it, to learn it. I traveled the world. I studied with all different mediums. If I was interested in a particular person, I wanted to study with them. I would do anything just to be mentored by them. And that was just for me, my own personal journey. So I wanted to share with you that mediumship is a path. It's a path. It may not be your path or your direct path, but it's definitely a path that is available to you. So how do you know if you have psychic gifts, if you have an ability to communicate with the departed people, with the spirit world, and with angels? What I've learned on my path, that if you are interested, if you are genuinely interested in matters of mediumship, you are a medium. Because mediumship, it's not something you just acquire in one lifetime. It's something that you have done before, something that you have invested your time and energy in your previous incarnations. That's right. So in this lifetime, you can't just be interested in mediumship. If you are, that shows that on the soul level, on the level of your soul's journey, you have prepared, you've made a way so it's easier for you to communicate with the world of the spirit. It's something that you have wanted to bring into this lifetime. We wouldn't even have this conversation. You wouldn't even be watching this video if you didn't develop some kind of psychic gifts from your past life. So when I started to develop mediumship, right, to go into, spirit communication deeper and deeper, I realized through very different coincidences and events that I have studied mediumship before, and I'm not just learning, I am remembering. I remember when I was traveling to London for the first time, and it was like a leisure trip. I couldn't help, but I felt like, oh my gosh, I've lived here before. I know this place. I feel very at home here. I lived here before. It was just this odd thing. And I could even predict what kind of buildings would be in that particular area. So, what I've learned again through different coincidences, that I was in the previous incarnation a part of the study of mediumship, because in Europe, in London at that time, it was a very popular stream of consciousness just developing through different people. It was all about mediumship, it's all about thought, it's all about, the law of attraction, and all these techniques were beginning developing in London, in certain areas of Europe at the time. So I just felt so at home, so familiar. I would go to British Library and a book would show up on mediumship out of nowhere. And I felt like, okay, there are spirits in this library who know me. It's so strange and it's so bizarre. It's just like they were waiting for me. I know them. I know who they were. Maybe I lived with them. Maybe it's somehow on the energy level, it's me, my own consciousness from past incarnations is talking to me, is communicating with me there. So here's what I know for sure. If you are interested in mediumship, developing skills of spirit communication, you have done that before. So safely, just don't doubt it. Know that this door may be opened for you. If you choose to walk through that door, it's up to you. If you want to study mediumship, it's going to be easier for you. You don't have to explain to yourself why you're fascinated with mediumship. It's just natural to you. That's something that you are genuinely interested in. Making sense? So, if you know that you have done some mediumship work in the past life, maybe you've seen coincidences or dreams or some kind of just memories from some other time showed up, this is your sign that you have mediumship skills. Number two, that you have spiritual or mediumship, specifically mediumship gifts, is that you are sensitive to energies around you. And they aren't physical energies. It's like 100 people can be in the room or space. The moment you walk in, you begin to sense, I don't like this area here. I don't like this corner. I just somehow would prefer to stand here. Or you just intuitively know, you can identify places in your environment where something bad happened, or that there was just, okay, that was a beautiful garden here, and you could see it. There is more intuitive knowing than anything else. And here is what happens with mediumship, because you are in direct communication with the spirit. Direct. It's like you are talking to a friend and the friend is right there in front of you. In this way, spirit is non-physical, right? But they're also here. They are physically present with you. You don't feel them, you don't see them with your eyes, but you can feel them. And sometimes when you're communicating with spirit, even you're not knowing, if you don't even realize or recognize this connection, you could have some body sensations. Okay, you may just all of a sudden get really, really cold. This happens to me. Not anymore, because I've learned to control, and I also have very specific boundaries or filters when I communicate with the spirit world, but in those things don't happen to me anymore. But they used to. I would be communicating with the spirit, and all of a sudden, like, my body gets ice cold. My hands are just like, I am so freezing. Or the room can where you are all of a sudden becomes just cold. You feel like there are temperature shifts and usually colder. This is a sign that you have somehow mysteriously, magically connected to the world of the spirit, and they're here, they are working through you, they are somehow energetically tapping into your own energy, your own sensitivity, and you feel them. And it's not just in your head, your body is cold, your body feels sensations. Another sign that used to happen to me is when I would be again channeling. It does happen to some extent today, but not as severely or in a much more controlled way that it used to. And I would experience a symptom. All of a sudden, I will have like chest pain, just stabbing sensation, hurting in my chest. I'm like, what is happening to me? I'll be like, fine, happy, joyful. And then all of a sudden, there's like an intense pain out of nowhere. And I would be bothered by that. I thought, okay, maybe something's wrong with me. Something is like, what's going on? But then later, I began to recognize that my connection with the spirit world, because I am just open, I have natural tapping into the spirit, specifically, could be, departed people or some entities that were in the environment. And that, let's say they died or somehow they had heart conditions, right? They died of some kind of heart problem. They've experienced intense pain in their chest when they died. Somehow it's that physical sensation, the intensity of that sensation can be transferred to another person, a medium. And many mediums begin to like, oh my gosh, I feel like chest pain. Did your, a spirit, that spirit particular, if you're channeling, did this person die of a heart condition? It's would be, truthful statement. So you begin just to notice what's going on in your body, and your body begins to reflect to you. It's kind of like a feedback mechanism to understand who is in your area, who is around you. And let me tell you, if you're not aware of these connections with the spirits, with spirits around you, you may feel like there's something wrong with me, something physically wrong. People with mental health problems, they are just psychically open. They're open to this world of spirit messages that are just continuously flowing through them, and they don't know how to stop it. They don't know how to consciously gain control over these psychic abilities. So let me tell you, if you have felt like I'm losing my mind, I'm hearing voices, is this normal? Am I a normal person? I'm going insane. This is crazy. I'm not myself. Or you feel like something's wrong with my body. I have just experienced some kind of like negative impact or pain or hurt to feel like, sometimes I feel like I'm dying. What's going on? You want to really investigate. You want to investigate how protecting you are of your own space. And if there are certain energies or spirits around you that may be trying to get your attention, and they don't want to hurt you, okay? Not always. They just, if there is an opportunity, a spirit energy will communicate. They will begin to channel. They will begin to tap into your consciousness with messages, with something specifically that they want to tell you. So begin to just pause and say, that's nothing. Nothing is wrong with me. I'm not insane. I am totally normal person, but I just know that there are spirit. I'm sensitive to spirits. I'm sensitive to receive these psychic messages. That's your first step, to recognize that you are just naturally sensitive to the world of the spirit. It's so easy for you to communicate with them consciously. Just like for me, it's easy. And I know, sometimes I feel like everybody can do it. But I also have learned to control, to give the spirits just enough time and momentum to speak with me or to communicate with me. But then I was just like, that's enough. I want to live a normal life, to have my space protected. And that's exactly what I do. So there is empowerment that comes through it. But if you feel physically, emotionally drained, know that you have sensitivities to psychic energies. Now, another sign that I wanted to tell you. Now, this is especially with mediumship, okay? Because mediumship is communication with the departed people, mostly. And the departed people, the way that we perceive them, right? The way that they see them, they're dead. They have they have died. And by the way, recently I was taking a walk in the park and I realized that all of my best friends, the best friends that those I call my best friends, they're all dead. And not the people I know in the physical world, but let's say people like Wayne Dyer, Yogananda, Bob Proctor. These are the mentors that I have never met, with the exception of Bob Proctor. But I've never met Yogananda. I never met, say, Wayne Dyer, which is not true. I met him once. Okay, who else? Um, but there are a lot of like spiritual masters who have impacted me in such a great way. But being a medium, now it doesn't matter if you channel a departed grandmother or someone on the other side. There is no difference. The process is the same. But I have learned every time I take a walk, I would connect with a certain spirit and we have conversations. We have conversations about life, about wisdom. We talk about, I can share some of my situations and they can offer me some guidance, but they aren't here in the spirit world, right? They are dead. So when we are communicating through mediumship, there is one filter that is always the scariest for us to overcome. And that is this fear of death. Death has a lot of energy charge when it comes to mediumship. And if you are drawn to mediumship, you have to overcome this one particular fear. So overcoming the fear will allow you to have just free communication with the departed. If you have a strong fear of death, you will block yourself. You will not allow these psychic gifts to be developed because there is a remembrance from past lives. There are things that happened in the past that are just restricting your consciousness from moving forward, from accepting or communicating freely with the world of the spirit. There is always fear. For me, my dad passed away, and I had to deal with my own fears of death and dying and seeing him and being in this position of losing him. I had to reflect upon life and had to reflect upon death. Another thing that happened, say in my case, I was an emergency room nurse. And that position, that time in my life coincided with my dad's passing. And I can tell you, it's just like the universe tried to knock me out of my fear of death, because everything was just like one thing after another when I could be completely at peace when somebody passes at work, when different situations happen. So with time, gradually, I released the fear of death. But that could have been my strongest fear. That could have been my greatest concern with mediumship, because it's like we are alive, right? We have physical bodies. We are living beings. When we communicate with the dead or with departed, those who are no longer in the physical world, when we're communicating with them, it triggers our own fear of death. It triggers enormous trauma and pain of dying many lifetimes in many different bodies, many different tragedies. It's like it triggers this enormous fear. But the most freeing, the most freeing experience you have as a medium, once you overcome the fear of death and you can easily communicate with the departed loved ones, with the spirit world, it means that you have healed, or at least you have balanced that intense, traumatic memory, catastrophes of the past. You have reconciled them. You're no longer fearing death. You're no longer just at the mercy, because if you can overcome this fear, you will be free forever. There's nothing for you to fear. There's absolutely nothing for you to fear. Your attitude towards life changes. There is no death. And in the spirit world, you understand there is no death. Like physical body, that's something that comes and goes. But there is no death. There is nothing, no thing that can stop this soul or this being of who you are from, growing and being happy. The true happiness comes from this feeling at ease and being at peace. And that's a true gift of mediumship at the highest level that I have seen. In my own life, I know that mediumship has been one of the things that healed me from many, many different traumatic situations. This lifetime, other lifetimes. But it's not a journey for if you have not accepted or worked through your own fear of death. Once this happens, you know it. You'll know it. You'll be free forever. And you will embrace every moment. You have such a desire to experience pleasure, just joy of being alive, being here and now, connecting with life itself, just being so at peace with whatever happens. Whatever happens, you will be okay. You are okay. And that is, again, another gift of mediumship, overcoming the fear of death. If you have intense fear of death and dying, it's likely that you have mediumship gifts. It's very likely. And if you actually take this path, if you go through that path of accepting your mediumship gifts and communicating consciously with the other side without fear, you are going to now become much more at ease. This is a true gift of mediumship. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you have experienced any of these symptoms and you feel like, yes, I'm a medium, I have psychic powers. Let me know. If this was of service, let me know in the comments, and also subscribe to this channel for more videos. I'll see you guys in the next one.